people to report if stores don't do gender neutral toys for children. They're doing that, or items in general. So they're like good. But they want people to report if stores don't have it and report it back to them. I just want to know what your thoughts on that are. If you've heard about it.
I have heard about that. I think that a business should be able to carry the products.
Big non-binary sibling.
I don't think the government has any involvement or any business being in their business and telling them what to do. Government has three functions: protect and defend your civil liberties as defined in the constitutions. 2, stay fiscally responsible with your money. And 3, get out of your way. That's it. That's all that the government should be reduced to, is those 3 core
I just
principles.
don't want them shutting down those stores because I don't want them to have that kind of authority.
Right, well, those are big corporations as well, and I hope that they're, lawyering up and getting the resources together to fight against that, like as a class action lawsuit, right?
Yeah.
Like actual fight against that kind of tyranny.
And then the second thing I was going to say is I noticed during the election, my mom, my dad, and I went to several different voting stations, and they all closed early. And they were supposed to close around 7. They were closing 6 or 5.
Really?
Whoa,
Really?
Dear
Yeah,
God.
and that's like
I
that's
reported
not
it
right.
back to Election Integrity Project, Ruth's wife,
Awesome.
and she came back and said that they were setting up that day. So they had the excuse where they were setting up and they weren't ready. So
3 or 4 different places all said the same thing, which is weird. And I feel like if that wasn't the case, you should abide by the rule, It's all
The rule they
that
weren't
way.
supposed to be open,
They never close early.
Right. We have to, right? We have to abide by the rules.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yes.
Okay, there's 2 things. One, they're not questions, but there's 2 things that need to be changed in California. One is for if teens are wanting to get involved, petitions that people for Republicans to sign, they need to be paper formed. Because if they want to try to actually help out and get involved, they have to be paper formed. Because obviously you could tell people about going online, but they obviously will not do that. You have to do it straight on them, right in person.
Sure. Let's get to the second one as soon as I'm done here. I'll come back to it, I promise, okay? Is our country at war? Yes, it is. This is a spiritual battle that we're living through. Marjorie Taylor Greene put this list together a few months ago. She put it on Instagram with a little video and stuff. And as I was reading through it multiple times and just preparing it for slides and talks and stuff, one thing wasn't on there, and it really, really stuck out with me, is the fact that our country is growing more secular and moving away from God. And so the fact that that wasn't on her list there, I don't know if that was a decision, like an actual decision, but I think, doesn't anybody feel like there's a pretty spiritual awakening that's been happening over the last 4 to 6 years? So I'm interested to see where this maybe is in another 10 or 15 years, and if this trend hasn't turned back and started to reduce this secular society that we've got. So what's the right place of government? Thomas Paine, one of our co-founders, didn't sign the Declaration of Independence, but was one of the co-founders of our country. Society in every state's a blessing. That's not like California, Arkansas, that's like good state, bad state, right? Society in every state's a blessing. But government, even in its best state, is but a necessary evil, and in its worst, an intolerable one. Who here feels we're pretty close to intolerance if we haven't gotten there?
We're already there.
Right? Absolutely, that's where we're at. So, this is my commitment to you, the founders of our country, the 56 great signers of our Declaration of Independence. Finish the declaration with these words: with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. I've done this over the last 3 years. I'm going to continue to do this. I'm going to run for city council in my own city in 2026. Because who am I to tell you to go serve and do your civic duty if I'm not willing to go and do that myself? If I had more money, I'd give it to your group and every other group, because spend it now before they take it later. I learned that from Mike Lindell. That's his motto. He's done a good job of that, apparently.
They're taking it January 1st with a gas tax.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then just my sacred honor, I have no agenda other than to educate and inform people. I love my country. This is my service to my country. I was never in the military. And so I just want to thank all of you for giving me some of your precious time this evening. Thank you so much. small donation. All we basically, our costs are all voter rolls, so we're all, volunteers. We're not turning into the Red Cross or anything like that. Yes?
That list of our spiritual wars like Marjorie Taylor,
Yeah.
where can I see that again?
I can email it to Maureen and she can distribute. My slides are available for anybody, so if you'd like to
Yeah, we'd
get,
love to have a copy. There's so much
Yeah.
good information.
Yeah.
if you just follow me with the text.
And that's what she came up with.
Thank you for sharing.
But any information that we put together, it's all public knowledge, open source. It's for anybody to use and share and so forth. Yes, and then I'm coming to you.
It sounds like more cities ought to think about becoming charter cities. So what's the process for a general law city to become a charter city?
So they have to propose the charter, the people have to vote on it, then it's submitted to the state, and then the state approves it.
So you mean
I haven't-
the state can reject it?
Yeah, but I haven't heard of really a lot of rejections of charters when it's only if maybe something in the charter, the way it was structured, needs to be maybe reworded. But I think most cities, when they put forth a charter, have a pre-approval process with the state first to get everything aligned and make sure all the provisions are covered that are needed to run a city before it actually goes to the vote of the
And
people.
I want to follow up on this. Are there seeming drawbacks? I don't understand why more cities aren't doing this. I mean,
So you can't have a good, effective charter city without some good, effective managers. And so if you have what might be typical in some of maybe our smaller cities, right? It's just, here's a retired person that's just looking to do a little service and things and just kind of do what they can to help their community, probably don't want to become a charter city.
I see.
But if you've got some people with former business experience or professional experience that know go in there and problem solve and know what fiscal responsibility is and budgets and all those things, then you definitely would want to take that opportunity because it's putting all the hands in the local people and taking them out of the hands of the government. You first and then you, Nate.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the difference, somebody asked earlier about the difference between charter and regular,
General
okay,
general law.
Isn't the difference that charter cities are not government funded? Chartered cities, their finance come from within their city, from taxation and everything, isn't that correct?
It's a really good question, and I don't know it,
I
so I'm
don't
not
think
gonna.
so.
You don't think
Redondo
so?
is a charter city, and they apply for grants all the time,
Yeah.
but I don't
Well,
think
grants are
they're,
different.
they're wealthy enough to fund themselves.
So Costa Mesa's not a charter city, that's one of the things that we're gonna campaign on, is becoming one. And so I'm gonna get a good firsthand experience to be able to teach
Okay.
other people that are gonna either start charter cities or get their charter cities to change their charter and so forth,
Yeah,
so.
that's what I was always told. Charter cities are not government funded.
I never.
Yeah, and charter cities have only come up really in the past, like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6
Well,
months,
again,
really
I'd
since
say that's
Huntington
not
Beach
true
did what it
because there
did.
were issues that we had that the city, because we're run by communists, they bow down to the state.
What
They-
city is that?
Redondo.
Oh, I'm in Torrance.
Yeah, well, I know, I've been to your house.
Over here to you.
That's right.
And then Nettie, you're next.
I knew you looked familiar to me.
Okay, so the second thing I was gonna say is that, so for our school systems,
Coming back,
in
Okay.
6th grade, I was actually indoctrinated into their school system. So what they did was taking Christ out of the school, so in history class. And what they put was BCE instead of BC. So when I was homeschooled in 7th grade, and that's when I actually learned what they were teaching me. So they're indoctrinating like 6th graders, and and 6th graders is when they go to, a lot of people go to youth groups.
Sure.
Now, see, they didn't even teach about that in youth groups, so but still, between 6th and 12th grade, it's like, and the rest of their life, they don't even know what they taught them.
Right, parents have a tough job in this state. Nettie, last question, and then we're gonna close it out, so we can get
Yeah,
on with the
I
movie.
wanted to add a commentary too. So one thing we want to encourage you is as you're looking into the charter cities is don't show your hand and don't go gangbusters to it because you don't want to show your hand. There's research and strategies that you need to do. You need to know your personnel. You need to make sure that you have people in place to take it over. This is going to take research and time, and it's one of the things that Ursula's been working on, and I believe In Costa Mesa, they had tried to do it, and it somehow got voted out because again, they twisted it to mean something, not the charter city, there was another aspect that they brought into that, and it got shut down. But I thought that situation was it got voted on, so we're not clear on how that all works, but.
AI
I
says
don't
that
think
charter
the state
cities can
wants any more
receive
charter
government
cities.
funds.
The state doesn't want any.